Awesome. Good evening, families. I see y'all trickling in. We are back again. I know y'all getting tired of me, but we are here. Let y'all get settled on in. Perfect. Well, welcome back. We just saw each other last night. But for all who are joining for the first time, my name is Justin Barker. I'm one of our associate directors in the Office of New Student and Family Programs. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight for our Student Safety and Support webinar. We have a great program for you tonight, great panel discussion. Yeah, as always, if you are new to the game and new to these webinars, at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A feature. We'll be using that feature throughout our program this evening. So if you have any questions about the webinar or about how to keep your students safe at Duke, you can type it in that Q&A function. There will be a time at the end where we will answer some of these questions live. I'll be in the background tonight answering some questions the best I can. But yes, please use that feature below. So without further ado, we're going to get this party started, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our director in New Student and Family Programs, Grace.
Thanks, Justin. I'm excited to be with you all this evening. Thanks, Justin, for kicking us off. As Justin said, my name is Grace Sullivan Zirkle. I use she, her pronouns, and I have the honor of serving as the Director of New Student and Family Programs. So we're thrilled to have you all as part of our Duke family for the next 4 years and are committed to partnering with you to support your students' success. For this evening, I am here just as a facilitator, so I'm going to facilitate this conversation, but I'm really going to turn it over to our two featured guests in a moment to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about what their role is and what their office does here at Duke to support Duke students. So I'm going to first hand it over to Dr. Justin Sharp.
Awesome. Thanks, Grace. Appreciate you allowing us to be here and talk about this very important topic. Families, it's so nice to be in this space with you all, even though I cannot see you, but we will be seeing you in a few short weeks, and we are so excited to welcome you and your children to campus. I'm Justin Sharp. I serve as the Senior Associate Dean of Students within the Dean of Students office, and underneath my portfolio, I oversee Duke Reach, which is our non-clinical case management office that really helps students that are in distress. And we'll be sharing a handful of resources throughout tonight's program to give you a little bit more in-depth information about that particular office in that space. I also oversee the Office of Student Conduct and Community Standard, as well as the Crisis Response and Risk Mitigation Unit. So all of that kind of falls within health and well-being on a continuum. I've been at Duke for 8 years now, so I've seen the progression and how we support all the way from prevention and how can we keep your students in a space to where it's proactive and prevention, but also working with them in times of need and connecting with students with the right resources at the right time. I'm originally from North Carolina. I have lived in the state of North Carolina my entire life. So if you have particular questions or want to offload and see and ask me questions about which barbecue is better, I've lived in the western part of the state and the eastern part of the state and can give you a little bit of a taste of both. No pun intended there. But I'll toss it over to Aaron to introduce himself as well.
Yes, again, thanks for having me on this panel. I definitely appreciate it. And I look forward to these kind of meetings every year because it's nice. I know I can't see everybody like Justin mentioned, but it is nice to have this time to talk about some issues or some things that could possibly happen throughout the year and how we can help facilitate the students while they're here on campus. Again, my name is Aaron Pruka. I am with Duke University Police Department. I have been here coming up on 12 years now. And I originally started off as a security officer here and just worked my way into police. And then the last 5 years, my role has been with our community outreach and community engagement division. One of the things that we do is offer training and support for not just the student population, but faculty and staff as well. And some of those trainings would be around de-escalation, as well as making sure that people understand their resources here on campus. Duke has a plethora amount of resources, a lot of great resources here on campus. And even though I am part of the Duke Police Department, we work closely with the services here on campus, and we make sure that whenever we're dealing with, especially a student, we can offer the right resource to fit their needs based off the situation that they are going through. So we definitely have that teamwork here on campus, and promote that as much as possible to help support the student population.
Wonderful. Thank you both. Well, I really want to open up our discussion today with a question for you all. So we often talk about at Duke about taking a holistic approach to student safety and support. It's not just one office or one unit or one person. Can you expand in greater detail about how your office or your role works with other units on campus to support student safety?
Can jump in here real quick. Holistic support for me just really encompasses that continuum of care that I mentioned in my opening kind of address, I guess. It's a shared effort across the entire campus, and in particular, I lead a coordinated response team called the Dean on Call. So we have a variety of deans that serve in the Dean of Students office that are on a 7-day rotation, that are there in the background to make sure that we have a coordinated effort with housing, with health, with Duke Police and academic partners to ensure that students are supported through that prevention, the intervention, and crisis response. In that space, those deans on call are supported by the residence coordinators on call as well. So our residential live-in staff that will be in the residence halls, both on East and West campus, are supported in that on-call rotation. That it's a 24/7 access and triages in the ways that it is needed. And in that space and in that particular program, the Dean on Call and the Student Affairs on Call response, our goal is to connect with students in the right time at the right time with the right resources to ensure they have the immediate attention that they need in that space, regardless of the hour that the incident or resource needs for that particular student. And that's one thing that I'll lead with.
Yeah, as far as the Duke Police Department goes, whenever we receive a call for service, it's usually a crisis situation. Whenever we have to enter into the residence halls where the students are living, we coordinate with the RCs and the RAs, as well as the dean's office, to make sure that it's not just a police response, it's also a group response, to make sure that we're approaching the situation properly, and making sure that there is the resources are being available and known to them, as well as making sure that there can be a positive outcome based off of the call that we are answering. So we work closely with not just the RCs, RAs, the deans, but also the support services on campus, and we use those services as much as possible to fit that individual's needs here on campus.
So let's talk about students specifically. What sort of messaging are you all sharing with students when they're here about their well-being and safety while they're on campus?
So many of your students and children have likely or will already have taken what we call the Wellness at Duke module. It is a module that is near and dear to my heart for many reasons, but I won't go into that. But it really provides a continuum of resources of what can individuals do for their own health, well-being, and safety in times of needing to utilize resources as it relates to mental health concerns or distress, what resources exist, increasing resource-seeking behavior, kind of intrinsically and motivating in that space, but also through a community shared space. We remind students that they are never alone and that asking for help is also a strength, even though it may not seem like it at that most vulnerable time. So with our outreach programs, our communication campaigns, Duke Reach in particular has become both a noun and a verb. And that is what we really wanted to make sure with the particular office, that it is an entry point into the Dean of Students office through an incident reporting system that if you are struggling or having some type of distress or crisis, that inputting information into this particular form will get the resources that that particular individual needs at that point in time. But we also emphasize community care as well. My background is in public health, so we know that we are only as well as the environments in which we habitat, and that is what the culture is at Duke. We emphasize that community care, the personal responsibility, and utilizing campus resources to stay as well as you can. So our messaging there is clear. We care, we're here, and we'll walk with you through any challenge that comes your way.
Yes, and for well spoken, by the way, Justin. That was great. So as far as the police department, I know orientation and move-in is coming up, and we are definitely pretty active during that portion of it. I know myself and my coworker, we will be at multiple resource fairs throughout campus to share information, as well as not just about the support services, but really what our role is here and what, as far as a community resource individual and what we can offer them. So we'll do random, not just resource fairs, but we'll also do trainings with the RCs and RAs about safe socializing, whether it's here on campus or if they are going out at night, how to be safe and how to work together and build that community here on campus and utilize that whenever they are socializing, whether it's late night hours or even just being here on campus. Other things that we'll also focus on is safety on and off campus. Now, not just the resources here on campus, but what they can utilize within the city as well. Because again, Durham or Duke itself has a lot of great resources, but Durham, there's a lot of great things here in Durham as well. So we want to make sure that people are aware of it, where they can go safely and travel to, whether they're not just here within the city, but if they are traveling throughout the state and checking things out on the weekend, how to do that safely. So we'll offer safe travel tips, personal safety tips, and how to utilize their resources here on campus. We'll do coffee with a copy events. So we'll have time where we'll set up randomly throughout campus and we'll have food available for them so they can come and talk to us about any question that they may have, as well as we'll do movie nights with the students. We'll do random sporting events. So we've done kickball tournaments in the past. We've done basketball tournaments. We are trying to look at setting up a pickleball tournament the last year or so. So there's things that we try to stay engaged with the student to help not just build that relationship with us, but also have that understanding that we are here to support them in their journey here at Duke. We are not, yes, we're law enforcement, but that is not our primary focus of having law enforcement, negative impact of law enforcement. We want that positive to understand that we are here for them and their safety and making sure that they have a great time through their journey here at Duke.
So sort of big picture, I'm going to pull it back. Wait, what else? What do you want families to know? What else do we need to talk about? What are those concerns that families may have or things you want them to know to be able to reinforce messaging with students? What do you want their big takeaways to be?
That's a great question. I think for me in the work that I've done over the past 8 years, that I want families, not only on this call, but families that we come into contact with, not just after the first year, but all years that you're a part of Duke, is that you are and continue to be important partners in your students' well-being, and we welcome that support. You can help and encourage students to communicate directly. We're always available if you have concerns, knowing that, and conversations with students or with others about how help-seeking, stress, and independence can set the tone for a healthy and connected Duke experience overall, not just within the first year.
Yes, I would definitely say more about that staying connected, not just here on campus and building your community here on campus, but also staying connected with you, the parents, making sure that they check in with you from time to time to make sure that they are doing well. And if there's something that's concerning, let us know, or, there's a lot of support here on campus. Sometimes throughout school year, sometimes a student might not feel as comfortable to reach out to their parents, and we understand that. But again, knowing that there's support services here on campus, and we are here to fully support the students and making sure that they have a great experience. So staying connected overall, I think is going to be a great message to pass along to them. Understanding and knowing their area, as well as exploring, getting out. Maybe it might be out of their comfort zone, and that's fine. It's good to get out, explore the area. Duke has a lot to offer, not just as far as support services, but there's a lot of great groups on campus. Explore those groups, learn about those groups, join a group. It helps build that community here on campus.
One of the things I hope families walk away from with this conversation is to see the holistic support, right? And I hope that families, you will see that we just need students to reach out to anyone almost, right? And we can get you connected and find that support. But I am going to ask both of you directly, if you were talking to a student right now and they were like, how do I tell you that I have a concern, or a family, I have a concern, or I am worried about something, what would be the entry point that you would suggest for reaching out to get that support from your areas?
Yeah, so for my area in particular, and I'm going to pop it into the chat because I think chat works. So I'm just going to confirm that everybody gets this. This is the best entry point into the office and offices that I oversee. And again, this is on a continuum. Obviously, if there is a crisis or an emergency, calling Duke Police, 919-684-2444. If somebody can type that in while I'm chatting, that would be the very first. Like if it's a crisis or it's emergency, you're calling, so we can activate our protocols and get the support that is needed based on the information that you've received. If it's more of you're concerned, maybe your student was calling you every single day for the first week. And they continue to kind of, throughout the progression of the semester, you just notice a little bit of behavior change and you're wanting to figure out, all right, is this the progression of kind of getting into independent first year modality of behavior, or is there something maybe underneath the surface that you've kind of picked up on? Because again, you know your children the most. This is a good entry point into that, and it's an incident reporting form. This is a reporting form that is checked during business hours, so keep that in mind. But we respond to these, we follow up with students, we provide resources. That is that non-clinical case management work that we do and support and highlight other resources that may be available to them. One of the things that I wanted to share before we jump to this question, Grace, that's something Aaron mentioned around just kind of groups and just students in general. XO, the program, I see that as a early intervention in myself, the lens that I look through, because the way that we have set up orientation, our first year students are making deep, meaningful connections immediately. And that gives them a sense of comfort, a sense of camaraderie, but also like leaning into that support very early because of the way that our student leaders, our OLs, and our PDs are doing, because they begin to look out for one another already. And that is something that is completely valuable to us as administrators, but hopefully a comfort to you all, that they really do care for one another. And XO has allowed that to happen. And with the students knowing their limits, they're checking in on friends and they're reaching out for one another if something doesn't feel right, and leaning into those support resources early it definitely makes all the difference in that space. It's something I just wanted to highlight that Aaron prompted me with.
Quick apologies, Grace. I had a quick delay and I didn't quite catch that whole question. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good, right? Zoom still having we're still
Yeah,
figuring it
right.
out years later. I think the
Yes.
question is direct entry. If someone said, I want to reach out to your unit in particular, what would you consider the front door? How should they reach out? What's the best way to be in touch if they have a concern that they want DUPD to address or be in partnership with?
Yeah, so as far as the Duke Police Department goes, our main number is 919-684-2444. That was listed in the chat. So definitely that is an important number to know for emergencies and non-emergencies. Another great resource for you is the Live Safe app. I'm actually going to post that right now in the chat. So the Live Safe app is a free app to download. Great app, great resource for you and for your students. Through this app, they're able to call or text the Duke Police Department. It's very responsive. Someone's always on the other side to respond through text message or the call. There's other great Duke resources available as well. There's a Safe Walk feature through the app. And that Safe Walk, what it does is it allows the student to invite somebody, such as a parent or even the Duke Police Department, or a friend here on campus. What they can do is they can send that invite to make sure that they can go from their destination to from their location to their destination, say their place of residence, and make sure that they make it there safely. So through the app, the individual can track them to make sure they make it home safely. It's again a great resource. Multiple universities utilize this app. So when the student logs in, they have to make sure that they link it up to Duke University in order to receive the Duke University resources. It also links up to the support services here on campus. They can file police reports through here. They can remain anonymous as they file reports. There's another thing that we do here on campus that's called concerned behavior reporting. And with that, it's I saw somebody in the chat mentioned about the See Something, Say Something app. So the nice thing about See Something, Say Something, and it's anonymous way of reporting something of concern, something that is not necessarily a criminal incident or emergency at the time of that report, but it's a way to get that notification out there that whatever it is that's concerning to you, is there a chance that it could escalate? And we want to make sure that we are ahead of that situation. So getting that notification to us, getting the notification to the deans or even the RCs or RAs, they can help navigate to help determine what's the best way of progression based off of this concern. And again, a concern is something that is subjective to that individual, and that is completely okay. We want to be ahead of any situation that could possibly escalate to a criminal or emergency event. And by doing notifications to the RCs, RAs, the deans, even Duke Police, we can do a report that will go to our behavioral assessment team. This team is not just the Duke Police Department. Again, it's the support services, it's HR, it's legal team, there's some healthcare professionals on it. It's a holistic approach to look into these reports of concern to help determine the parties involved, as well as what type of concern it could be and could it escalate to an event here on campus? And then how do we manage it as a safety perspective, not just for the parties involved, but for Duke as a whole? So it's a great way to be proactive and get that notification out as soon as possible. Just like Justin mentioned before about really working together and building that community. And, it might start small somewhere else, but as you grow that community, you're really taking care of each other. So that's just one way that we can help here on campus is making those notifications and getting that awareness out to the students to know that they can report, even anonymously, they can report something of concern to us, and we can help navigate to get them the right resource. That was pretty long, but it's important information.
Really, really important. Yeah. So I wonder, sort of feeding off of that, and I'm also, we are going to open up for general Q&A, but there's a great question in the chat that I want to ask at this point too, which is about larger alerts on campus and how students will know if something is happening. And the sub part is also, can those notifications go through the Live Safe app? How will students know if something's happening?
Yeah, so alerts will be sent out through the Live Safe app. But as far as student population goes here on campus, I believe they're automatically enrolled to the emergency.duke.edu. And anybody can go to that website. But as far as the Duke community goes, they're automatically put into the emergency or the Duke alert notification system. So that way, if there's anything that's occurring here on campus, an alert will be sent out through text message or email to make them aware of what that situation is, and then what's the next safety steps to take. It's usually for inclement weather, but it's also utilized for any emergency event, whether it's on or directly around campus. But
And
as
Aaron,
far as the parents, the best option is again going to the website every once in a while, just checking it because their things are posted on emergency.duke.edu. But feel free to download that Live Safe app as well, and notifications will be sent through the Live Safe app.
and Aaron, just to confirm here too, if for some reason your child doesn't have their phone on them at the time, the Duke Alert will be displayed on video boards across campus, and if needed, depending on the level of the incident, we do have sirens, correct?
Yes, yes. So if there's a higher situation or emergency situation, there will be posted throughout monitors on campus, as well as we do have 9 sirens throughout campus, spread throughout all of campus to make sure people can hear those sirens. Those are usually for inclement weather, but again, if there's a high alert emergency on campus, those sirens will also go off. I believe there is also a message that is sent out, a verbal message that is sent out through a PA system in some areas, not all areas, but I believe some areas of within a building. And not all areas have that type of capability. That's usually an older system, and Duke has been upgrading. So there's some changes on that, but the message definitely gets out to everyone, whether it's email, it's text message, it's the siren system, but also there's multiple areas on campus that will post any emergencies occurring on campus.
I saw Justin and I perk up a little bit as we're talking about this alert notification system, because Justin and I have been working together this week. Your students are actually starting to be enrolled in this notification system tomorrow. And so they're going to receive an email alerting them that they're on the system and talking. Honestly, the email is kind of a recap of this conversation. So they're going to be reminded of holistic support services that are available for students as part of that message. So they will be enrolled tomorrow. And to clarify, our families are not enrolled in that notification system. It's not possible to enroll, but if that's something that you are eager to have, we would suggest the Live Safe app would be the way to receive some of those notifications. And part of that is that we don't want to cause undue panic. We do know that people on campus need to know those notifications. There could be something urgent that matters for them to know. And also, we're asking for some trust that if that system is going out, there's a crew on campus that is in full force to address student safety and to make sure that students are being cared for. As Aaron said, a lot of times it is weather. That's the most common thing, right? It's just a weather notice. There's a tornado warning in the area, things like that. So.
And just to highlight that, the weather, we are in North Carolina, a lot of wetness in terms of just things that happen in North Carolina. But the website that Aaron put out related to the Live Safe, if you take off that backslash and just go to prepare@duke.edu, there is a plethora of resources that indicates what we do in terms of a tornado, hurricanes, and other ways. And there's a specific location on that website for students as well. And it's just another resource that we continue to highlight in the Blue Book, in this email, and throughout the remainder of their time here for peak awareness.
Aaron, I was going to ask you a question that someone asked something similar in the chat. A lot of your work is about prevention. Can you talk about what your biggest tips are for students when it comes to prevention, especially crime prevention?
So that's a large topic, but yes, as far as here on campus, we talk about not just safe socializing on campus and off campus, but also being aware of their surroundings and understanding. Duke is a private university, but it is open to the public, and there are people from all over that come and check out campus campus is a beautiful place to be, and so people come and enjoy that areas. Unfortunately, there's people with bad intentions from time to time that are looking to gain access into areas that they don't belong in. So the residence halls have it's card access, it's limited access, and we want to make sure that they don't prop open doors here on campus. We want to make sure that whenever they're traveling throughout campus, to make sure that they're doing it safely, whether it's on a scooter. So if they're on a scooter following the rules of the road, they have to ride on the same side of the road as a vehicle would. If they are utilizing a bike, and this is a very bike-friendly area, to make sure that they're wearing the proper helmets, and sometimes people have pads on. If they're traveling at night on a bike or scooter, make sure that they're well lit. Other things would be about partying safety. I know there was a question about parties off campus, and how do we manage that? So for that, anything off campus, Durham City is going to be the primary responding agency for those off campus parties, with our assistance. So Duke Police will be aware of those off-campus situations, and we respond to those off-campus parties as well. However, we are there to assist. So if a student is involved in an off-campus party, we are there to help make sure that they get back to campus safely, as well as if there's anything that the city might want to do, we make sure that we can help support the student, whether they're on campus or off campus as well. There's a lot. There's a lot of things that we do to help support them here on campus. And again, it's going over any type of safety thing that we can help promote here on campus, and knowing that they can reach out to us. Our primary focus, again, is here on campus to help support faculty, staff, and students, but also anything off campus, we also want to be involved in to help support any Duke family member off campus. So even if a student is traveling at night, we want to make sure that we are there to support them. So there's multiple ways that we can even provide rides for the students. So if they want to, say they happen to live off campus or are going to a friend's house, we can help provide that service to them. It is a free service. We try to have them do the van services as much as possible. But if for some reason van services won't help out or assist, that is something that we can definitely do for them. Let's see. There's probably a few other things that I'm missing at this time, but let's see. Any other question at this time?
Aaron, I might prompt you. I mean, every time we talk, the big thing that I come away with is I don't want to minimize the simple things, right? You all can help us by reminding your students that we are in a community of care, but let's not create the opportunity for someone to take advantage of that, right? So locking your residence hall, like that is so simple, but your students should be locking their residence halls, right? If you're going to grab a coffee across the plaza, don't just leave your laptop unattended, right? It's those things that are so important. And that is Aaron's message, not mine. Also, I wonder, Aaron, any engraving services you want to talk about?
Yeah, so we do offer engraving services for any personal items. This is something that we've kind of gone away with over the years, only for the fact that people don't always want their stuff etched. So we have an actual machine that we kind of etch personal information into their property. Some people are definitely okay with it, but some people are not. We can definitely do that. That is more on a call me, let me know. I will show up anywhere here on campus. I will meet them anywhere here on campus, and I'm happy to engrave anything for them. However, if they're not interested in engraving, what we do is we help them know that we can also give them a form. When it comes to your electronics, make sure that you have your serial number of your electronic documented, as well as what that item is. roughly the price of that item. So that way, if it happens to go stolen or missing, we can enter in you have that information to provide us. We can enter that information into a national database that, say your laptop was stolen and you gave us that information. That information goes into a national database. If it is found somewhere, say a pawn shop, it will hit and we can go retrieve that property. We can also, if it's found online, we can retrieve that property with no questions asked because we've already determined that that was a stolen or missing property. So documenting your social security, or I'm sorry, not your social security, documenting your serial number of your product, as well as what that item is and a rough cost of what that item is. Those are ways to help keep your property to you, and if it happens to be missing, you have that information to provide us as right away.
Awesome. Both of you can keep thinking if there are additional messages you want to share with families, but there's a few in the chat that I think are going to be quicker answers that I would love to just ask you all. One of them is just about wondering, we kind of addressed the common safety concerns on campus. I think we addressed that. If you have anything more to add, you're welcome to. But the follow-up is also how many officers are typically patrolling in a shift? What does the presence look like?
So we are here 24/7. We have police and security working together on the same team. So there'll be police and security roaming throughout campus. On a normal day, there is about 11 or 12 police officers and about 15 to 18 security officers. We also cover the medical center. So honestly, the medical center is where majority of our calls for service come from. So if you go to the Duke Police Department website, you can check out our crime stats on there. Majority of those calls come from the hospital setting. Campus is a nice place to be. It's kind of a we rotate in and out of the hospital and on campus, and we prefer to be out on campus because it's a safer area. The hospital's great, but there's less calls for service out on campus, and it's a great way to be more connected with the community because we have that time to go and talk to people and be present and assist where we can assist, and not just going call to call to call within the hospital, to be completely honest about that. But there is a good amount of people, and we have individuals assigned to each section of campus. So that way they are in, say they're on West Campus, we have somebody assigned to that area. And every once in a while, we'll have one or two extra out on campus so we can get a good quick response to whatever call for service that we receive.
Great. Justin Sharp, as we think about holistic student safety and well-being, a family member is asking about partying off campus. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about alcohol under that umbrella, sort of student safety and well-being.
Yeah, absolutely. So that leads me back to something that I mentioned earlier, the Wellness at Duke module. As we know, we've got a continuum of students on our campus that have maybe experimented with underage drinking. Some of them have not experimented at all. So that particular module goes through from a harm reduction strategy and approach that provides them with the information to make well-informed decision based on them as an individual. So it equips them in terms of skill building and knowledge in that space so that when faced with an opportunity either to or to say no to, they have the information that they're able to do that. That is supported throughout their entire time while on campus, because there may be opportunities or incidents where they may find themselves in a compromising situation with alcohol. And we approach that again through a harm reduction strategy and an educational approach to where they meet with a member of the Dean of Students office staff to see what may have went wrong in an episode that may have found them in a situation to where intoxication occurred, and what strategies, if they're choosing to drink it again and make that choice, what can they do to reduce their risk from a harm reduction approach? So that is continually shared through various uh, uh, methodologies and communication campaigns. When we think about like the socio-ecological model within the campus and within the community, we've got the individual level, we've got the interpersonal level. That gets me back to XO. That gets me back to the individuals that we have on this campus. They are real. They look out for one another. They know the signs and symptoms of what alcohol poisoning looks like. And we have a policy on campus that's our health and safety amnesty policy. It kind of couples with a Good Samaritan law that is in North Carolina. Many of the states that you're coming from likely have something similar, that we, in this safety aspect, we're not trying to get anyone in trouble. We're trying to make sure that we are supporting the students from a health and safety standpoint first, to make sure they're getting their help that they need, because sometimes students are afraid that they're going to get quote unquote in trouble. And we want to dispel that myth, especially when it comes to the use of substances, to make sure that we're uplifting health and well-being in that space.
Yes, I want to add on to that about making sure that they can reach out to the Duke Police Department for that that safety aspect. We understand that they might be out drinking or partying or doing something, and even if it's an underage situation, we are not looking to get them in trouble. We are there to make sure that they are safe. We're not looking to charge a student if they are underage drinking. We want to make sure that they're doing all right, and we want to make sure that we can get them the right resource, even if it's a medical situation. So they can reach out to us at any time. Our purpose is not to charge them and arrest them for whatever situation that they were in. We're there to help them with their resources that Duke provides, and we're there to work with them as well to have even a recovery and resource available.
As we talk about substances, there's also a question in the chat about fentanyl and how prevalent it is right now. Anything you all want to share about emergency preparation? I know, Justin, maybe I'm looking at you. Maybe you want to talk about one box here.
Yeah, I can do that. So we have a dedicated person on our team that is well versed in alcohol and other drug use, the prevention of that, the harm reduction strategy of that. We have a program on campus called Social Host Training that trains upward of 1,200 students in the undergraduate class each and every year. And if you think about that, that's almost 1/4 of the entire student population in preparedness, active bystander training, intervening. A lot of what Aaron does on his side, it couples with this of you see something, you say something to someone who can do something. I always add that last bit, because seeing something and saying something and you tell somebody, they may not be able to do something. But with fentanyl and just the other drugs in that space, this particular individual, Sarah Campbell, I'm going to shout her out. She's an amazing individual on her team. Love her to death. Has brought to campus an initiative that we call One Box, and that is naloxone, Narcan. I can't remember which one, but it is one of those that can be distributed, and those are found in the residence halls. It is a way for us to be able to be as prepared as possible in the event that someone has come across a substance that would have the need for that particular apparatus to support the well-being and the safety of that student in that time. So there's a lot of education, there's a lot of prevention and programming, but then in the moment there is that opportunity to react if and when needed in that space.
Awesome. Justin, I wonder if you could also talk about amnesty, as we talk about the social component of if there are drugs or alcohol, or if a student just feels like someone's going to get if someone is in trouble and needs help, how are we supporting students in making sure to reach out and get their peers support?
Yep. Yeah, so that's coupled in a lot of the training that Sarah does as well. Amnesty is the medical health and safety policy. It's in the Duke Community Standard. It is a policy that lives in that space. So your students are going through obviously the blue book and looking to see, and they have to attest that they have read through the Duke Community Standard and attest to reading off that. But there's a lot of policies there, and we want to make sure that we highlight that one in particular. As I mentioned before, some students feel like they may get quote unquote in trouble because they are underage or they may be using an illicit substance, and something has occurred and they don't want to get in trouble. But this policy and the way that we reinforce this is first and foremost is that person's health and well-being that we're concerned about in every incident. We're not worried about getting someone in trouble, going through the conduct process. Like health and safety is utmost important in that particular scenario.
Wonderful. Two live safe questions that I can't remember off the top of my head. Can van services be requested directly through there? And can push notifications, do we know if push notifications would also push out Duke alerts essentially?
Yes, you can request a van service through the Live Safe app. They Parking and Transportation also has their own app for it, but through the Live Safe app, you can also request van services. I believe push notifications are also available through the Live Safe app, and that's made available for people who cannot have the emergency.duke.edu Duke alerts. So yes, Live Safe app again is a good app to download. Free download for you.
We just did a test 3 weeks ago, I think now. And I remember getting a push notification, hearing the sirens, and we do that, I think, on a 3 times a year, quarterly basis. But
Quarterly.
yeah, and just to ensure you know what to do in that time.
Yeah, so if you're a family member that's also sitting here and really feeling like you want those alerts, the notifications, push notifications through Live Safe would be the way to automate that at this time. We are coming close to the end of the questions in the chat. I'm going to do a disclaimer. I'm not purposely ignoring anything. Sometimes it's hard to sort through them. So I'm making sure, doing my best to make sure we're asking all of them. But I'm going to say at the same time to families, if you still have a question, this would be a good time to put it in our Q&A below to make sure that we can address it. If for some reason I do accidentally skip over any of these, you can always reach out to our office and we can find answers for you or connect you to resources, family programs at duke.edu. I know there's a question here that I'm going to give to myself. Someone asked about transportation to the train or the airport. Duke has not provided a coordinated effort in the past. However, our Duke student government, who I'll just give them a shout out, they are always looking for how to make the Duke experience more accessible, supportive, partner with university staff. They piloted a program this last year that we think is going to continue to coordinate transportation to the airport at peak times of the year. So some times of the year, including Thanksgiving, I think this last year. I think Thanksgiving was the big one. So I say that to say that's a great thing for your student to be on the lookout for from Duke Student Government this year. Sometimes of the year there just aren't enough people going at the right time to be able to coordinate shuttles, but shout out to Duke Student Government for that. All right, I am going to ask my partners as I continue to scan the chat if there's anything you feel like we haven't talked about today that you would want to leave families with as we think again about holistic student support and well-being and how we as a campus try to champion that for our students and bring them along and empower them to be part of that process.
A good question.
Yeah, I mean, August is tomorrow. We are so excited. I mean, this is Grace wouldn't be in this role. Justin Barker wouldn't be in this role of onboarding new students every single year if August wasn't our favorite time of the year, just to be able to welcome each and every one of you to campus in a few short weeks. There's a lot of emotion that's going to be tied to that. Some happy, some sad. But know that we're here and the resources exist, and that's what makes Duke uniquely Duke. That we have that holistic wraparound approach to make sure that we are providing health, well-being, and safety to the best of our ability for all students, not just for the incoming first years.
Mhm.
Real quick before we wrap up, because one just came through, flash flooding in surrounding areas. In some, I think if there's flash flooding on campus, there would be an alert. In the surrounding areas, I think there's a judgment call. But part of that, and correct me if I'm wrong, or if you have other things that part of that is reminding folks, and I just want to reiterate that there's a team that is constantly talking about this and trying to figure out where is that threshold of this is something that all of our students need to know immediately, right? I know Justin gets emails daily about weather and that there are calls when there's any inclement weather that could possibly be in the area to make those judgment calls about what is information that needs to be an alert versus maybe other ways that we just prepare and tell students to anticipate. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Aaron may know a little bit more of the finer details, but I think in the areas in which we live in Durham, Wake County, Orange County, in that space, the state of North Carolina Emergency Management has a notification system. I think it's called WIA, that will do geospatial push notifications to certain areas if thunderstorms, flash flooding, inclement weather is going to be impacted in that space, and that is based on your location. So that's just one thing to kind of keep in mind, that if they are living off campus or they are traveling, going and visiting South Point Mall to go shopping, and they're a little bit of ways away from campus and flash flooding were to occur in that space, that notifications would be in a timely manner from the state of North Carolina in that space. It's called WIA. I don't remember the acronym. It's just a push notification um, from a geospatial uh, GIS mapping. I don't know if it's an app, but I think it's really based on where you are in North Carolina, and if something is happening within that vicinity that they've dropped a net over, you get a notification for.
Mhm. Yep, exactly.
All right, Justin Barker. I think I'm going to pass it over to you to bring us home.
All right. Thank you so much, Grace. Team, thank you all so much for that conversation. We appreciate it. I know these families appreciate it. Team, we are wrapping up. I'm going to share my screen with you all to let you know what is happening next. Y'all, the last webinar is coming up and it is the big one. Y'all, we are 16 days, 16 days to y'all bringing y'all's baby to Duke. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. If you have not registered for our webinar on August 5th, please see that website there. Also, my friend Nancy in the chat, I saw you asked a question about any previous webinars and recordings. All of our recordings are on that website. If you were here last night and I told you I was going to get it on the website today, I am working on it. It is going through our translation system as we speak. But please give us 72 hours to get these webinars up on the website for you, but you can check it out there. And then also, we're getting better. Every day, we want your feedback about this session and any previous sessions that you have attended. So please scan this QR code and take this quick little survey. And as Grace mentioned before, if you have any questions at all whatsoever, you can email us at familyprograms@duke.edu. All right, I'm gonna leave this up for a little bit longer, families, but as always, thank you all so much. I cannot wait to see y'all next week on the big webinar with your students. And of course, I can't wait to see y'all in 16 days. Y'all have a beautiful evening, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, team. stop recording.